was asked about a recent Sports Illustrated ranking of the top 10 players in the NBA, and this is what he had to say.
Who's missing from the top 10?
This video is covered under fair use. Fair use allows for commentary, criticism, and reactions. What's up, everyone? Back with another one. Today, we're breaking down Kevin Durant's comments on D-Wade, D-Wade's response, and Gilbert Arenas adding some historical context. All right, let's dive into this clip.
Durant was asked about a recent Sports Illustrated ranking of the top 10 players in the NBA, and this is what he had to say.
Who's missing from the top 10?
I think you're missing James Harden.
All right, so if you're missing Harden, who do you take off the list?
Dwyane Wade.
So, all right, Harden for Wade.
D-Wade did not like that, so he posted this. KD said James Harden should replace me in the top 10. Note to self, make him respect your place in history again. So recently, Kevin Durant was speaking on James Harden and D-Wade again. So take a listen to what he had to say, and then we're going to listen to what D-Wade had to say.
I might have to disagree, because when D-Wade won that first championship, I think that's what people even having this argument about D-Wade and James, because that championship that D-Wade won,
the first one,
and the style he won it in was insane. Everything was downhill, pick and roll to the cup. I'm scoring tonight. Dolo. Shaq was out there.
Yeah.
He was the second option. And he had shooters around him, and Posey and Antoine Walker, and he had backup point guards that could help him. Who that sound like? James Harden. James Harden played that same style. A pick and roll, going downhill, big that can catch a lob with shooters around him, and I can go get you a bucket. James Harden played that same type of style. He didn't have that moment that D-Wade had, being able to come down 3-1, Pat Riley, Miami Heat organization. There's a lot worked in D-Wade's favor, and he had to show up, but there's a lot worked in his favor for him to win that championship.
So at y'all table,
but I don't feel like D-Wade. I don't feel like D-Wade's style of play is just more conducive to winning than James. I don't agree with that. I feel like they both are winning players that could contribute to great teams. You know what I'm saying? D-Wade didn't have to do as much for them last two championships.
It was incredible what's needed, you know what I mean, as a second option on the team. But that was my leading man moment. And I stepped up to to when my name was called, right? And
yes.
It's really cool for me to always hear the way that hoopers, like everybody think that we as hoopers, we all think the same.
Right.
We all view the game the same. You know, we see the game the same. We don't. And so it's always good for me to be able to hear hoop heads, hoop greats talk, and you see the way they see the game. And we respect KD over here because he's one of them dudes when it comes to the game of basketball. And I don't play the game the way that KD played the game, right? We play different styles. And so I can appreciate, I think sometimes when people play similar styles, they compare them so much that it makes some people hard to appreciate each other's game. And, I think, so one, shout out to KD for, obviously talking about the 06 run I had, because he right, man, I was downhill. Like, bro, I'm going to get a bucket on you, and I don't care which way it come. It's just going to happen. And you in my way, I'm coming right there.
Yes.
That was like the mentality, right? Like I was just a young free player who had and who understood the moment, I think. And then why I say that is because he expressed this a little bit when he talked about James Harden and the comparison between us. And he was saying, like, I see a lot of similarities in their game if you look at, downhill players,
right,
making plays, for them teammates and for themselves, and putting pressure on the defense all day long. But for me, at that time in my third year, I understood I really tried to take advantage of that moment, because I knew that this does not happen that often. I may not get this opportunity again, and I can't let this opportunity slide, right?
Right.
And I didn't know I would go back to the finals 4 more times after that, but like, what if this is my only time, my only chance? And I knew that I had the perfect situation. Like, I had the perfect big man that, Shaq at that time was obviously getting older, but he still can give you 30 and 20 some nights.
Right.
He did it in the Chicago series leading up to it.
Right.
I had the perfect 4-man in UD, just somebody we knew was gonna knock down, 15, 17 footer, gonna guard the other team's best player, gonna do all the dirty work, gonna foul them up, gonna take up for you.
Straight up.
And then I had the perfect 3-man and 3-man and 2-man. Like I had Antoine Walker, James Posey, like the squad. And then on the sideline, Pat Riley, the coaching staff. So everything was set. I had to do my job.
This really puts D-Wade's career into perspective. You see how
This really puts Dwight's career into perspective. You can see how much timing, teammates, and coaching played into his championships, but also how he consistently stepped up and took control when it mattered most. I love how he responds to Durant with respect, making it clear that greatness isn't just about the situation, it's about execution, mindset, and seizing the moment.
My job I did very, very well, right? As a young player, just be on the attack and, you got the ball, do something positive with it more
Right.
times than not. And I try to do that. And so he right from that standpoint. It's like, a lot of players, they like to, it's some players you can automatically be like, yo, they're just better at this or they're just greater at this. But when it comes to like winning, sometimes it depends on what situation you get put in.
Consensus has him, 3. I'm pretty sure players have him 3. I don't know. No one's ever questioned who was the 3rd best. I mean, the only person that you would have pushback on is probably Allen Iverson. So if there's going to be a debate, it's probably going to be a debate between Allen Iverson and Dwyane Wade. And I know consensus has James Harden in front of Allen Iverson. From the last one I looked at, it was what? Jordan, Cole, Wade, Harden, and Iverson 5, right?
Yeah.
Is that out? Yeah.
That sounds about right.
So if you're gonna just say like we're gonna argue, right? Who's 3rd, and it's just basketball, no ring talk, then Dwyane Wade and Iverson, that would be the argument.
And you put them above Harden. Just being.
I would put Dwyane in front of Harden because just how he played the game, right? I mean, we watched the glimpses of how dominant he was going to be before Shaq got there. We seen him in the playoffs against that was Hornets, right?
Yeah,
We
I was
watched-
gonna say, was it?
Yeah. Then we seen him the next year. Then we seen him take over. Like we seen what he could have maxed out at being, right? He just had other great players around him that kind of, dimmed his light just a little bit. But we seen it, so the totality of how he played, even in the Olympics, right? He was impactful on that rock star team. So I will have him 3 or 4 with him and AI.
The discussion brings together Kevin Durant, D. Wade, and Gilbert Arenas in a deep conversation about style, opportunity, and legacy. Durant reflects on D. Wade's first championship run, highlighting how aggressive and downhill his approach was, built around constant pressure, pick-and-roll action, and a roster crafted to maximize that attack. He compares Wade's style to James Harden, noting that both thrived in systems where spacing and decision-making were key, and that Wade benefited from perfect timing, coaching, and organizational structure. D. Wade responds with respect and insight, explaining that players can view the game differently without diminishing each other. He openly acknowledges that his championship situation was ideal, but emphasizes that execution still counts, especially when leadership is demanded. Wade explains that he embraced responsibility, understood the rarity of the opportunity, and attacked relentlessly because that was his role. He frames success as a combination of preparation and circumstance, rather than a simple player-to-player comparison. Gilbert Arenas then expands the discussion by adding historical context and examining the impact, arguing that deep